spending a decade living a separate life with her husband to pluck up the courage to get divorced.
When you're feeling a dark place and you can't see any light, really, or happiness, and you feel low and it's gloomy.
For years, Ruth Langsford and Eamonn Holmes seemed like television's perfect couple, sharing both their careers and a strong, lasting bond. But behind the scenes, that image was quietly falling apart. What happens when a marriage that looks unshakable suddenly breaks up? At 66, Ruth is opening up about the painful reality of their 14-year marriage, revealing moments of betrayal and deep emotional strain. After nearly 3 decades together, their split wasn't simple. The truth behind their separation is far more complicated and far more heartbreaking than anyone expected. The hidden rift emerges. For years, Ruth Langsford and Eamonn Holmes maintained a public image of harmony that few could question. They appeared on screen as the embodiment of a loving partnership, sharing jokes, smiles, and what looked like effortless chemistry. Yet beneath that polished surface, tension was growing, quiet, subtle, and unseen by the audience. Ruth herself has revealed that private moments of loneliness and unexpected betrayals began casting shadows over their relationship. What was visible to the public was only a fraction of the truth. The challenges that slowly crept in were far more complex. Ruth described feeling isolated in her own home, a surprising contradiction to the warmth viewers witnessed on television. This kind of emotional distance didn't erupt overnight, but grew from underlying issues that neither she nor Eamonn could fully confront at the start. The fractures started to appear as personal and professional pressures mounted, creating a gap that at first seemed manageable, but soon proved difficult to bridge. Despite the years spent side by side, both personally and professionally, small cracks deepened over time without an immediate cause being clear. Ruth has admitted she didn't anticipate the eventual split, believing their foundation was stronger than it was. The gradual unraveling felt puzzling and painful, especially because, from the outside, everything seemed solid. Adding to the complexity was their shared life under constant scrutiny, which meant personal struggles played out with an uncomfortable transparency. The couple worked together regularly, leaving little room to separate professional partnership from private relationship. That blurring of boundaries made it even harder when the balance began to tip. Subtle signs of strain were masked by smiles and rehearsed banter, delaying acknowledgement of deeper problems. Small arguments that occurred between people developed into major conflicts, which created distance between them. Ruth has spoken about discovering things she never expected, feelings of shock and betrayal that undermined years of companionship. She did not know how long the separation had existed because she could not determine what had changed and when it had occurred. The couple maintained their relationship but experienced silent tension, which destroyed their former connection. The hidden rift shows that relationships between public figures often show dishonest appearances. The complete visual presentation, which appears on screen, hides personal difficulties that only become visible during private times or emergency situations. Ruth's decision to speak openly marks a shift, casting light on the hidden nuances behind years of smiles and partnership. The story presents two opposing elements that show the disparity between actual events and their public display. The uncertainty and betrayal that Ruth experienced do not lead her to point fingers at those who wronged her. She presents an in-depth examination of a complex situation that developed throughout time instead of occurring at one particular instant. The fundamental reasons that led to their breakup remain hidden because people need to assess the situation more deeply than what they see in news reports. Ruth has decided to research the essential loss that occurred at some point in her life, which she will now study before others. Her decision to reveal these personal details of her life enables people to comprehend that even couples who appear to have unbreakable bonds face difficulties that can silently overpower them. The complete explanation of what caused Ruth and Eamonn's marriage to end will become clear in time, But current events demonstrate how the public saw the situation differently from what actually happened between them. The complexities of their relationship were influenced not only by private struggles, but by the environments in which they built their lives and careers. Ruth's career and public life. Ruth Langsford's career has been a consistent thread woven through her life, marked by steady growth, adaptability, and a warm connection with viewers. Starting in the early days as a continuity announcer and newscaster for a regional ITV station, she gradually built a television presence that was never flashy, but always reliable. Over time, she lifted herself into roles that allowed her personality to shine, including as a long-serving presenter on This Morning and a panelist on Loose Women. Her natural professionalism blended seamlessly with the persona audiences came to admire. Ruth's television journey reflects not only her dedication to her craft, but her ability to evolve, moving from continuity, announcing to panel discussions, to major daytime hosting gigs. Throughout, she remained grounded, often described as relatable and authentic, despite the glitz of the industry. This solid reputation helped her maintain relevance over decades in a competitive field. Working alongside Eamonn Holmes became a defining element of her public identity, especially after he joined as a co-presenter on This Morning in 2006. Their on-screen chemistry created a recognizable partnership, engaging millions of viewers and cementing them as television's quintessential couple. This professional alliance blurred the lines between work and personal life as fans watched their rapport deepen into a real-life relationship. The public saw laughter, synchronization, and ease, but what unfolded off-camera was far more layered. Ruth's career also demonstrated her individual determination to carve out spaces beyond the joint spotlight. Her ventures into reality TV, radio hosting, and launching a fashion edit on QVC showed her pursuit of independent achievement. The experience on Strictly Come Dancing further highlighted her willingness to embrace new challenges and push personal boundaries. These career moves illustrated a woman eager to grow on her own terms while remaining a familiar figure in British media. The couple's public image required them to handle different types of pressures that only affect famous couples. The public wanted to see one specific version of Ruth, while her actual self remained hidden from view. Ruth needed to fulfill her responsibilities as a television professional while she maintained her role as a wife to a well-known person. Their professional lives became more connected, which created difficulties for them to maintain their emotional and work boundaries. Ruth understood that public life required her to pay hidden expenses, which became obvious through her constant smiling and public achievements. The audience's judgment, combined with media attention, created a situation where even tiny relationship problems became major public problems. She has discussed her difficulties in handling ongoing public observation while dealing with her personal letdowns, which happened beyond the view of television. The shared professional environment they created together functioned as a stage where their mounting relationship problems would later become obvious to others. The couple's removal from the This Morning show in 2020 proved her ability to endure, and the broadcast platform demonstrated her ability to endure through challenging times. Ruth continued her work on Loose Women, while Eamonn chose different career paths that included his move to GB News. The different professional paths that they selected created a personal divide that showed how their work schedules changed their relationship. Ruth built her public career through a combination of teamwork with others, while she worked toward her personal goals and changed her behavior. The roles she selected and her behavior provided windows to her internal process of dealing with romantic relationships, personal loss, and self-discovery, while she was watched by countless people. As Eamonn's health challenges increasingly surfaced, they added a new layer of pressure on both their relationship and careers, blending care with strain. Health struggles and their impact. Eamonn Holmes' health difficulties have been part of his story for several years, and they played a significant role in shaping life behind the scenes for the couple. By 2021, chronic back pain had become a daily battle for him, later diagnosed with 3 slipped discs. This persistent discomfort was not minor. It significantly altered his mobility and quality of life. Alongside this, Eamonn suffered a dislocated pelvis, compounding his physical challenges. Multiple surgeries followed, including spinal procedures intended to relieve pain, but which instead introduced further complications. Over successive operations in 2021, 2022, and 2023, his situation became increasingly precarious. The level of dependency rose as recovery proved difficult, with Eamonn eventually using a wheelchair much of the time. His ability to manage basic tasks diminished, requiring daily support from carers in dressing, undressing, and meal preparation. Through all of this, Ruth Langsford remained a steadfast presence, deeply involved in his care. She supported him through appointments, endured frustrations, and faced the emotional toll of watching a partner struggle with a health that changed so drastically. Her role evolved from spouse to caregiver, a position that brought immense pressure alongside love and commitment. This caretaker dynamic inevitably reshaped their relationship's balance. The physical toll translated into emotional strain, affecting how they interacted and coped with daily life. Being thrust into a more dependent role challenged both Eamonn's sense of independence and Ruth's capacity to manage her own needs alongside his. The couple, once thriving on shared activity and work, now faced challenges that tested their resilience in intimate and public ways. This immense health burden added complexity to an already fragile relationship. While Ruth provided unwavering support, the situation created unspoken stresses that neither seemed fully prepared for. The closeness required for caregiving sometimes blurred boundaries, shifting their dynamic from partners to patient and nurse, complicating personal connection. These nuanced struggles happened quietly behind closed doors. The impact on their public lives was also significant. Eamonn's health issues limited how they appeared on screen together and influenced decisions about their careers. The couple faced a new normal, where managing pain and disability became part of their shared reality. For viewers, it was a stark contrast to the energy and ease they once displayed. Health challenges often test the foundations of relationships, revealing strengths but also vulnerabilities. In their case, it exposed fault lines beneath the surface of years spent in an intense partnership. The love that carried them through early years now had to contend with uncertainty, dependency, and emotional exhaustion, foreshadowing changes that would prove difficult to sustain. Their health struggles were only one part of the larger story, soon intersecting with emotional revelations that would deepen the divide. Signs missed and emotional fallout. Even as problems quietly built behind the scenes, Ruth Langsford admits she was still caught off guard when her marriage to Eamonn Holmes collapsed. She believed they were happy, which made the breakup more confusing and painful. Like many in long-term relationships, she found herself wondering if she had missed the warning signs. Looking back, Ruth questioned whether busy schedules, health struggles, and life changes slowly pulled them apart without her fully noticing. The shifts weren't obvious at first, just small changes that eventually became impossible to ignore. The emotional impact went beyond heartbreak. It forced her to let go of a future she had imagined for decades. She described feeling broken, not only from the loss of the relationship, but from losing the life she thought they would share. Adding to the challenge was the public nature of their marriage. Personal pain became public discussion, making healing harder. Facing that reality, while returning to familiar spaces they once shared, made the experience even more overwhelming and difficult to process. Ruth maintained her position because of her internal conflict between two different emotions. She recognized that their long-term relationship would not end through the actions of a single person or through a single incident. She viewed their breakup as an emotional and mental breakdown, which required time to develop. The way she saw things enabled her to handle the consequences with dignified behavior while she experienced real emotional distress. Ruth dealt with her own battle while she watched Eamonn publicly progress through life at a speed which she found too fast to handle. His new relationship emerged only months after their split was confirmed.
Relationship public, they've been away on a luxury cruise in the Mediterranean, and now we can reveal that Eamonn Holmes and his new girlfriend,
Adding complexity to her emotions. The two different speeds of their healing process demonstrated that healing needs time, and that each individual needs to find their own way to adjust after finishing a particular life phase. She grew exhausted and required therapy and deep thinking about herself to find the path that would help her understand her past experiences and create her future. Through counseling, she found a protected environment which needed her to release her feelings while other people could not judge her. The therapy sessions enabled Ruth to learn how to control her overwhelming feelings, which she faced during that time. The dedication to recovery from illness became a major turning point that occurred to her at a time when she experienced emotional distress. Ruth continued to carry her emotional wounds, but she confessed that certain times brought her to a complete state of despair and confusion. She described her childhood experiences when she explained how she experienced total hopelessness during that period. She gradually built back her hope through time because she understood that people need to work intentionally to make happiness manifest in their lives. The process of reclaiming her identity from the past played a critical role in her journey toward progress. The painful realization that her life was shifting irrevocably was intensified by a discovery that pierced the trust she had in Eamonn. The moment of betrayal. What Ruth Langsford uncovered behind the scenes became the breaking point in her relationship with Eamonn Holmes, a moment both shocking and deeply personal. She overheard him on the phone with another woman, speaking in a way that immediately shattered years of trust. He believed he was alone, but Ruth was close enough to hear everything. In an instant, the foundation of their marriage felt uncertain. When she confronted him, it wasn't just an argument. It exposed cracks that had been forming for a long time. What she heard wasn't an isolated mistake, but a reflection of deeper emotional distance. For Ruth, that moment destroyed the sense of safety she once felt, forcing her to see their relationship in a completely different light. The pain intensified when she later found messages on his laptop. These weren't brief or harmless exchanges. They revealed a level of emotional connection outside the marriage that made the situation impossible to ignore. Each discovery added weight to the realization that something significant had been happening behind her back. The complete dedication that Ruth had shown during their shared time together made it impossible for him to continue. Eamonn received medical assistance from his partner, who acted as his caregiver throughout his severe health difficulties. The betrayal hurt more because she had demonstrated complete loyalty to him, but discovered his hidden truth. Their relationship problems became more visible during the following weeks, which showed their marriage breakdown. The couple remained together for a short time, yet their relationship already suffered lasting damage. When trust breaks at that level, it creates challenges that make trust restoration difficult. The couple decided to end their relationship after they quietly publicized their breakup news. The simple statement contained a complex truth, which explained how shared life between two people came to an end because of damaged trust and hidden conflict. Ruth used her own method to tell her story about the event after the public had only seen a brief announcement. The chapter of betrayal ended at that point because it forced Ruth to face essential realities that changed her life path. The painful experience became the vital point that directed her toward healing through self-discovery, which opened the door to her fresh start under her control. Trust once broken is not easily mended, and the aftermath of such revelations sets the stage for the slow path toward healing and renewal. Healing and moving forward. After the end of her marriage, Ruth Langsford began a slow, deeply personal journey of healing. Moving on wasn't quick or easy. After nearly 3 decades with a partner, rebuilding her identity meant facing painful emotions and letting go of old patterns. Instead of rushing forward, she chose patience, giving herself the space to recover at her own pace. Therapy became a key part of that process, It offered more than comfort. It challenged her to reflect honestly and understand her feelings in a structured way. Through it, she learned that healing takes time and intention, and that self-care is essential when rebuilding your sense of self. The act of speaking out created a significant turning point. Ruth revealed her memoir, Feeling Fabulous, which contained her experiences of sadness and confusion and loss. Through writing, she discovered ways to handle her past experiences while providing hope to people who face similar problems. The transformation of her story began when she stopped experiencing silent suffering and began sharing her story, which displayed her power and truth. The small, unspoken differences between people develop into significant barriers that emerge through time, according to her explanation, which includes their shared family expansion desires. She considers these situations to be common experiences that many couples encounter, but which most of them choose to ignore. Ruth still handles her feelings about new romantic relationships with excessive caution at this time. She proceeds with her life because trust takes time to reconstruct. She maintains a degree of social connection with others. The process of her life demonstrates that painful endings bring about both personal development and complete understanding, which creates opportunities to establish a brand new existence according to your own terms. Ruth Langsford's journey shows us that even the strongest relationships can face unseen struggles, and healing is a brave, ongoing process. If you found this story compelling, please like and subscribe for more heartfelt stories and insights. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, and when you're ready for another powerful story, tap the video on your screen and keep the journey going.